All right, welcome to the Introduction to Marketing. A very warm welcome to all the Edupedia students. My name is Mucha Marapa. I'll be your host for this course. It's a 7-module program designed to take you through a basic but comprehensive overview of marketing relative to the small business, the entrepreneur, the self-employed consultant, together with the mom and pop style business too. Now, normally at the start of programs, there's a big sort of introduction on who the presenter is and what they've done. And I just really want to get going. I want to get stuck in here because we've got a lot to cover over the 7 modules. But also, if you would like to sort of learn more about me, I will most definitely speak to you more about some of my own experiences as we get further into the program. But you'll also be free to connect with me on the various social media platforms, which I'll talk about at the start of the next module. But there are a few guarantees for you here. Number one is, I just really want you to know that after going through this program, and provided you take the exercises that are included, your marketing skills will be in the top 10% of marketers doing this for a living. That's a very bold statement, I know, but you'll see as time goes on, there's just so much marketing being done ineffectively, expensively, in the wrong sort of way. So if you can really grasp these, take the exercises that accompany and then put things into practice, you really will catapult yourself to the top 10% of marketers that do this for a living. Now, as I mentioned before, we have 7 modules in total. I thought we'd just sort of run through them now. Module 1, this one, is the importance of marketing, where we'll also talk about some definitions. Why, in effect, why am I really putting across the need for you to become great at marketing? In Module 2, we talk about marketing psychology. If there was a certain subject that I wish I'd paid more attention to in my early days as a marketer and as a business owner for that matter, it certainly would have been marketing psychology, so we'll cover that. Module 3, we talk about the marketing triangle, which probably was the biggest aha moment for me and something that I've stayed rigidly close to ever since. Module 4, we talk about building your media toolbox. You'll find that I don't lay any preference to one particular form of media. You know, there are some that I like to use more than others, but not one takes more importance. The more media you have in your toolbox, the better. And in Module 4, we will cover that. Module 5 is tracking, testing, and measuring, which is so crucial. You know, we've got to know how our marketing is working for us. Back in the day, there's enough famous saying that half of my advertising is wasted, I just don't know which half. Well, thankfully, in this day and age, we know exactly what's wasted and what can bring in the returns. And we will cover that in Module 5. Module 6, we talk about marketing creativity and innovation. That's a wonderful area because, you see, so often people sell themselves short with their ability to market when they think, oh, you know, I'm just not creative enough, or, you know, this is why I need somebody else to do it. They get all the great ideas. Or the flip side of it is, you might have a business owner who has plenty of ideas but doesn't really know where to start as well, and likewise with a marketing manager. So we cover that in Module 6. And then in Module 7, we just talk about some conclusions and final thoughts. We sort of loop all the modules together, and I give you some sort of ideas and some final takeaways that will hold you in good stead. Now, one thing that it's really important for you to sort of gather and use these modules is that while each module will refer to what was spoken about before, they do stand alone, meaning you have the ability just to sort of pluck out Module 6 or Module 2 or Module 1 and just use it kind of on its own in a standalone basis. I made a real point of making sure that it was like that so that you can sort of not necessarily have to go through the entire course in the order it's meant, although that will help you, all right? But I just want to underline once again, nothing will be gained unless you take action and apply what you learn. So now, what we want to really sort of do and understand and sort of get you to really grasp the underlying tone of this course and why it is so very important, the first thing we need to look at is you as a business owner, or you as a manager in a business, or you wanting to start your own business one day. It'll cover all these sort of bases. The first thing you've got to look at is the actual purpose of your business. Now, so many people have different, I want to make a difference, I want to do this, it's to make profit, it's to this, that, and there was a truly fantastic business management mind by the name of Peter Drucker, and he just pretty much nailed it on the head when he said the purpose of any business is to create and keep a customer. All right. So when we start talking about marketing and the importance of marketing, and we're looking at it relative to a business, we need to find out what's the business's intention, what's the business's purpose, what's the directive for that business. This is what we've got to know first. And the purpose of any business is to create and then to keep a customer. Now, you may not be familiar with this man. He is quite the personality. His name is Nigel Bottle. He's here in the United Kingdom. And Nigel, thus far, it's still counting, but thus far, he has successfully created and developed 8 businesses that have gone over the £1 million mark each. All right? So he's quite the authority. And what Nigel said was that no business has ever failed because it had too many customers. All right, so in a nutshell, as we begin to move towards the importance of marketing and the purpose of a business to get and keep customers, right? There's all sorts of reasons why businesses fail, but no business has ever failed because it had too many customers. And then as we move along here, this was something that had a quite profound impact on me, particularly the visual aspect of it. And yeah, it looks like Nigel's about to say, hey, put your fists up, let's have a little fight over this, let's make sure that you believe and understand what I'm saying. But when we look at the overall 100% of businesses out there, 20% of them are struggling. 60% are just getting by. Now, some of them might be moving towards that down struggling side. Some might be moving up to the 15% who are getting there. They are on their way. 4% are rich, doing great. And then there is that super successful 1%. Okay? So when we look at businesses as a whole, if you've got 100 businesses and you set the business owners down and we were able to define the sort of meanings of what struggling means and getting by, getting there, rich and super successful, you would see that the majority of businesses are either struggling or they are barely getting by. So therefore, why marketing? We need to become great marketers because we want to get and we want to keep customers. But we also want to avoid being at that low end there where we're struggling or we're getting by, because while I said the purpose of a business is to get and keep customers, and this was passed on by the late great Peter Drucker, the worst case scenario is a business will fold, it will go out of business, you'll be bankrupt, it will cease to exist. All right? But that doesn't mean that you will go out of business. You may stay in business, but you'll struggle. And I'll tell you, as somebody who has struggled with my businesses in the past, it's almost worse than not having a business at all. Getting up every day, wondering, okay, how am I going to make ends meet? The pressures that it puts on your finance and your family and your relationships and all sorts of things. So we really want to make sure that we can avoid just getting by or struggling with our business. So we've got to fulfill your business purpose of getting and keeping customers, all right? This is what we want to do. And this can only be done via selling, all right? If there is no selling to acquire and keep a customer, there is no business, end of story. Now, I'm really making a point of staying on this reason about why marketing. Why marketing? We've got the business needs to get and keep customers. This can only be done via sales. And if there is no selling to acquire and keep a customer, there is no business, end of story. Now, most of you will know the man with the beard on the right-hand side. The man on the left-hand side actually now has a beard as well, but he is probably not as famous as Sir Richard Branson. The gentleman on the left is Joe Polish of Piranha Marketing out in America, and he's actually there with Sir Richard because he is Sir Richard's good friend and also his largest fundraiser as well, and he is a truly brilliant marketer. And the reason I have put Joe's photo here with the selling versus marketing is that he went some way to really articulating the difference between the two, how they're linked, but how you must view both of them. Joe said that selling is what you do on the phone or in person, while marketing is what you do to get someone on the phone or in person. I beg your pardon. So when we begin to look back and we sort of see ourselves in the digital era where you can do things online and so on and so forth, right? Actually getting in front of somebody or on the phone with somebody is still a very, very effective way of selling, if not the best way of selling. But marketing is what you do in the first place to get them on the phone or in person. And not only that, what we also want to make sure that we do is by the time you do actually get them on the phone or in person, they are predisposed, pre-interested, pre-motivated, and predetermined to do business with you. Okay? They are predisposed, pre-interested, pre-motivated, and predetermined to do business with you. Now, what this in effect helps is it helps you avoid being a cold call or a cold lead, something that nobody really wants to have, and to be in a position where nobody really knows anything about you. So we want to make sure that before the prospect enters into the dialogue, so either before they say, look, could you phone me? Or could you come and see me? Or could I come and see you? They are predisposed, pre-interested, pre-motivated, and predetermined to do business with you. So this is made possible via great marketing. But that moves us along to tell us what exactly is marketing. Well, I'm going to keep really reinforcing this, because once you get it in your mind and you understand it, you can understand that relationship between sales and marketing. So let's go back to that principle we discussed about the purpose of your business, or the business you represent, or the business you're advising, is to get and keep customers. In order to get and keep customers, you need to sell things to them, be it products, services, programs, something tangible, but most important, it needs to be something of value. Okay? In order to get that customer, you need to have something that they think is more valuable. The value of it is much greater than what they are paying or giving you to receive it. That's what really needs to happen. Okay? Therefore, because what you are providing in order to get and keep customers is of value, you're not necessarily selling them something. Okay? And please, let's stay on this point. All right? Somebody needs something of value. Therefore, what we want to get into your mind and into their minds is you're not necessarily selling them item A, B, or C, be it some products, be it some programs, be it some services even. What you're actually doing with your products, your services, and your programs is you are fulfilling a need. You are providing a solution. You are answering a question. You are administering relief. So therefore, marketing is creating the best information package or communication methods where you communicate results, benefits, solutions, answers, transformation, relief, outcomes to someone or to people who need that particular result, benefit, outcome, relief, transformation, answer, etc. in their life or their business, relationships, and so on. So then when we sort of come full circle with this and making sure that you understand it, we've agreed that the purpose of the business is to create and keep a customer. In order to get and keep customers, you need to sell them things, all right? You need to sell in order to keep that business sustained, and it needs to be something of value. Now, if it's something of value, therefore, you must stop looking at it as though it's just a car or a hotel room or social media management or whatever it is that you're selling them. But instead, what you're doing is you are fulfilling a need. You're providing a solution. You're answering a question. You are administering relief. So therefore, when we talk about marketing, we're talking about an information package or a communication method where you are communicating those results, benefits, solutions, answers, transformation, relief, outcomes. And this is the real key one, to people who need that. All right, this once again is taking away that whole thing from the cold calling. Remember what Joe Polish said about being predisposed, pre-interested, pre-motivated, and predetermined to buy from you. They need that particular result, benefit, outcome, relief, and so on and so forth, either for their life, for their business, for their relationships, and so on. So in each module, we're going to have a key takeaway where, in effect, I'm sort of saying to you, look, if you avoided going through all the other stuff and there was just one thing I wanted you to focus very closely on, it's a one key takeaway. So what we need to make sure that you're doing is you find out what people want and need. You then give them what they want and need. And this is the really important mindset that you've got to have with you. So often we have something, we're convinced in our own mind that, look, this is great, I know they could use it, and so on and so forth. And this may be the case. But what you need to make sure is that they want and need it. And most of the time it's great if they've actually expressed that to you. And then that's what happens as you sell. So therefore you need to frequently and consistently communicate how what you provide not only addresses those wants and needs that they said, but also solves them. Frequently and consistently communicate how what you provide solves the needs of others, and then you, my friend, can call yourself a marketer. But this is where the plot thickens a lot, and this is where so many people fall short with some of their marketing. This is the ladder of loyalty made famous by the American marketing authority Philip Kotler. All right, and as you can see, on the right-hand side you see target, prospect, customer, client, and advocate partner. Now on the right, sometimes the target is also used as a suspect. They call it a suspect, someone who you suspect could need something. They move up to prospect, where they haven't yet purchased. Then as a customer sort of in our world and in our language is very much a one-off buyer. They've bought something, but they don't necessarily come back. Once they start coming back, repeat purchases, repeat business, remember what we were saying about the importance of getting and keeping a customer? Then they become a client. And then when the brand insistent comes around, this is when they are speaking to others on your behalf. So you're not even having to necessarily say on your own how great that product or program or service is, about the solutions. You've got others who are doing it for you. So therefore, we can't ever have one size of marketing fitting all. It just doesn't work. The message to the target is going to be totally different to the message that you give the client. So you need to be aware of this, and you need to vary your marketing. And then you need to adopt marketing as a practice. Those of you looking at this brilliant mind here, truly brilliant mind, he is Seth Godin. And I mean, if you Google Seth, you will find out sort of who he is, what he does, all the really terrific information, both free and bought, that you can get from him. But Seth was very big on the importance of adopting market as a practice. And what we talk about as a practice, it means almost a holistic approach to your marketing, where it's not just about sort of saying, okay, next week I'm going to do a marketing campaign, or we'll do something in a few months' time, and then for the rest of the time you're not doing much. We don't want that at all. You need to adopt marketing as a practice. And Seth went so far as to say, marketing isn't advertising. Marketing is the product we make Marketing is the service we offer, and marketing is the life that we live. So can you see how he really wants to sort of adopt marketing as a holistic practice, for want of a better word? The next thing that I really want to sort of impress upon you here is, with the introduction to marketing, is the most effective marketing that the small business, the entrepreneur, the self-employed consultant, the mom and pop company will get is marketing for response or action. I really, really plead with you to market for response or action, because there tend to be two types of marketing. The first is brand marketing, always very nice and flashy looking, often put together at, dare I say it, great expense, where you raise a profile or an awareness. The next is direct response marketing, where you are asking people to take action. Now, in an ideal world, that ideal action would be a sale. You just want to have some marketing and they go ahead and buy. But it can be things like signing up online. It can be redeeming a coupon that you got in direct mail. It's making a phone call. And there is so much more around the different types of actions that you can get, which we will cover in future modules. So, as we just come to a conclusion with Module 1 here, I want you to do an exercise. And let me make a point of saying at this stage that the real benefit of this course is going to come after you finish each module and then actually doing an exercise, okay? Because you actually, there's so much magic that happens in the doing. All right. So what I'd like you to do is I'd like you to write, and listen, it doesn't have to exactly be 150 words. It can be 100 words. It could be 200 words. All right. But write 150 words about the business you're currently in. So just an outline and an introduction. Next, write 150 words where you now identify the needs of your customer. And then finally, identify the business you are really in and write 150 words about your business. So let me give you an example here, all right, in my world with what I'm doing, okay? I would start with number 1 about the 150 words about the business I'm in. I would say I provide digital marketing services and consultancy in the areas of marketing to small businesses, entrepreneurs, local businesses, mom and pop companies. I also do some teaching in the areas of marketing, specifically direct response, a bit of digital marketing as well. All right, that would be my 150 words. It's an overview. All right. Next, with the 150 words, where I'm identifying the needs of my customers, what I'll begin to say is I'll say, well, customers tend to take me, and hire me because they are very busy, so they need someone to do the work for them. Some of them are not overly happy with technology, so they'd rather I go ahead and do some of their social media and things like that. In lots of cases, the businesses are quite small, so they don't actually have enough people on the ground. So instead of hiring more people, they sort of outsource their work to me. All right, I've identified those needs. So now, in the third area, because I'm identifying the business I'm really in and I'm writing 150 words about this, what I say is, I save you time, I save you money in the way that you can have a return on your investment. I generate leads for you, okay? I deliver sales for you. Do you understand now? All of a sudden you're identifying the business that you're really in for them. Instead of number 1, I was saying, well, I provide digital marketing services and social media, and I also teach. Okay, identifying the business on number 3 with the people I teach. I provide I help you, I teach you how your family can get another income, providing such and such and such. So this is what I want you to do. The number 1 is just an overview. Number 2, just start really wondering and looking at what are the needs of your customers. All right, and then finally identify the business that you are actually really in, and it will be different from how you first explained it in overview 1. Then identifying the needs of customers and the business you're really in, we're going to keep digging deep in other modules there, but this was the first one, and I just wanted to make sure that you take this exercise before we move on to the next module. And speaking of the next module, we will be discussing marketing psychology, where we will discuss understanding human psychology, picking your specific target market, the need to ask questions, the use of emotional intelligence, which is probably the single advantage that you will have moving forward, and when you're sort of beginning to write copy, adverts and other things there, when you begin to use emotional intelligence. And then finally, the initial product creation and positioning. We will be covering all of that in module number 2 of the Introduction to Marketing.